Good morning, all of you. Hello, everybody.
Pranam.
Good morning. Good morning. Am I audible? Okay. Okay. So now we will see the types of values as recognized by different researchers. As identified and recognized by different researchers, we will look at the type of values. So types. Spranger et al. Has given 6 types of values. Spranger has given 6 types of values. In fact, he has identified 6 different types of human beings in terms of the 6 types of values they possess. Right? So he has classified human beings into 6 different categories in terms of 6 different types of values which they possess. They are as follows. Theoretical man. Theoretical man is one who is always after finding answers to questions of life. Theoretical man is one who values finding answers to questions of life. So they believe in theorizing, in making theories. They are fond of establishing cause, they are fond of establishing cause and effect relationships, as they believe that every effect is preceded by a cause. So they are philosophical people. They are good philosophers. They are scientists. They are intellectuals. They value finding answers to questions of life. For instance, if it rains outside, people will just enjoy the rainfall. But should there be a theoretical man, the theoretical man will be eager to find out the cause of the rainfall. What kind of rainfall can that be? Is it cyclonic? Is it convectional? Is it monsoonal? So what is the cause of this rainfall? They would wonder. Say a theoretical man goes to a garden and finds a beautiful flower in the garden. They will call the gardener and inquire about how did he grow that flower? How many times did he water the plant? What all minerals and fertilizers did he add it to the soil? He would be interested to know that. Such are theoretical men. Now, when I say man, I'm not only meaning man as a gender, human beings in general. Now comes aesthetic man. Aesthetic man. Aesthetic man is an artist because aesthetic man values form and beauty. So aesthetic man values form and beauty. He is an artist. So if the aesthetic man goes to a garden and finds a beautiful flower, he will not bother himself asking questions from the gardener. He will simply get lost and absorbed in the beauty of the flower. And he will enjoy and rejoice the beauty of flower. So poetic type of people, they believe in form and beauty. Aesthetic man can discover form and beauty in the most chaotic and ugliest of the objects. So generally speaking, when we look up into the sky in the night time, we may find random arrangement of stars. But should there be an aesthetic man will discover a pattern which the stars are making together, some kind of shape. Okay. So aesthetic man is artistic in nature. Social man. Social man has value for social motives. He wants to be cause of happiness in lives of others. He wants to be a cause of happiness in lives of others. So he values in serving the society. So social men make good social workers. They are receptive to the feelings of others, to the pain and agony of others, and they just can't see anybody suffering from pain. So if the social man will go to the garden, he will pick up the flower and give it to a child who is crying to bring smile on his face. Religious man. Religious man believes in spirituality, Almighty, God. So religious man is spiritual. Should the religious man go to the garden, he will pick up the flower and offer it in the worship of God. The religious man will pick up the flower and offer it in the worship of God. Economic man. Economic man is very practical and pragmatic, and he is output oriented. He is practical, he is pragmatic, he is output oriented. So economic man, if he goes to the garden and sees the flower, will find out from the gardener about the cost of growing the flower, the investment required to grow such flower, and the market value of such flowers. And he will work out a viable business if possible. So economic man turns out to be a good businessman. Political man. Political man values power. Political man values power. They want to earn more and more power so that they can bring differences in others' life. So if the political man should go to the garden, he would pick up the flower and offer the flower or gift the flower to his superior, to his boss, and win a favorable impression from his boss, so that he stands more powerful as compared to his other colleagues in the workplace. So political men make good leaders. Political man makes a good leader. So this was the first classification that explained values, that gave the type of values. Now there are limitations of this theory. The limitation was that Spranger's classification straight-jacketed human beings. Straight-jacketed human beings into watertight compartments. It straight-jacketed human beings into watertight compartments. 6 different types of people. Now it is incorrect to say that a person belonging to one of the types will not have any value belonging to some other type. It is quite possible that the economic man can also be political. It is quite possible that theoretical man can also be aesthetic as well as social. And it is also possible that a single person can have all the 6 values inside him. So it is incorrect to say that person belonging to one category will not be a member of another category. So the limitation of this theory was it involved straitjacketing of human beings into watertight compartment. And therefore, the next classification that came, it was a better one. It came from Rockich, who had given Rockich Value Survey. Now, Rockich had conducted a value survey using Lexian method. Rockich has conducted a value survey using Lexian method. Lexian means method of language. Lexian implies method of language. Now you understand. Human language consists of words and phrases that represent something that exists in the real world, in the reality, or has existed in the past. So human language consists of only those words and phrases that represents or that refers to something which mankind has witnessed. And our language does not consist of reference to those phenomena which have never been witnessed by mankind. So human beings have created words and phrases for what they have witnessed so far. So Rockich took out a comprehensive dictionary and found out the list of all the adjectives present in any standard language, the list of all the adjectives, assuming that each adjective represents a trait or a value. For example, aggressiveness is an adjective and it is also a trait, that is a value. Now, how did this word aggressiveness, this adjective aggressiveness came into existence? Well, somebody must have behaved in a rude manner in all situations. And in order to refer to such a trait, the adjective aggressiveness must have been created. Say the adjective politeness. Somebody must have been humble across all the situation, and to refer to such a trait or value, the adjective politeness must have been created. So as many adjectives, so many values. This was the assumption. And this is called lexion method of language. So he prepared the list of all the values and he found that there are more than 4,200 values. So there are 4,200 adjectives and accordingly 4,200 values. However, these values belong to either of the two categories. Some are terminal values and some instrumental values. Some are terminal values and some instrumental values. Terminal values are end state of existence, while instrumental values are means to reach the end state of existence. So terminal values are end state of existence. Instrumental values are means to reach the end state of existence. For example, terminal value of every human being can be almost common. Like everybody wants to reach the state of happiness in the end. Everybody wants to die in peace and happiness instead of misery and pain. Everybody like to fulfill their commitments before they die. These are all terminal values. And how to reach that end state of existence, the state of being that you wish to reach before you die? It is by adopting certain code of conduct. It is by adopting certain means. Now, me and you will have same kind of terminal values. All of us want to be happy in that. But the means that we have chosen may vary. You have chosen to become a civil servant and serve the society for at least 35 years of your life. If you can do that, only then after retirement from job, you will be happy that I have spent my life in a worthwhile manner. My instrumental value is different. The means that I have chosen is different. The means that I have chosen is that I will help create steel pillars of the nation, so that each time any of my students gets selected, I move a step ahead towards my end state of existence. Getting it? A doctor's instrumental value is giving freedom from pain to his patients. So more the number of people he can offer freedom from pain, more close he comes to his terminal value of peace and happiness. So in terms of terminal value, human beings are all alike. There is difference when it comes to the instrumental values, right? There is difference when it comes to instrumental values. Now my question to the class, what is more significant in your life? Terminal or instrumental value?
Sir, instrumental value, because it helps us to go to the terminal values.
Yes. Journey is always more important than the destinations you reach, right? It is the means that justify the ends. And if you go by Mahatma Gandhi, he says that only good means lead to good ends. And I'll give you a quote. The success of great men and women The success of great men and women should be measured. The success of great men and women should be measured in terms of the means they adopted to achieve it. The success of great men and women should be measured in terms of the means they adopted to achieve it. So what they have achieved is not important. How they achieved it is significant. Okay. How they have achieved is significant. Yes, Partha, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. We can quote this quote. I can cite this quote here. But actually, sir, this is it true? Because we see that some businessmen in the previous generation they are something else, but now they are doing the actual help the nation, nation building. But before the, if you just go back to that in the initial stage, they are not really businessmen. They are something kind of crony capitalist.
I'm not getting your question.
Sir, it means the measures, it means the means is very important than the ultimate reach. But we have seen many people, those the path is not good because they are in the initial level. Some businessmen, they are not really good in business.
I got your point. I got
Yes,
your point.
sir.
Now here the question comes, that was Robin Hood a hero or a villain? This is a question of ethical dilemma. Robin Hood used to loot rich people. He used to rob rich people and distribute the proceeds to the poor. So was Robin Hood a hero or a villain? This is the question. Some people would say it is the end which matters in the last. So ultimately the end objective was helping the poor. So Robin Hood was a hero. So this is what Machiavelli would say. Machiavelli was a philosopher who believed that it is the end that justify the means. Machiavelli believed it is the end that justify the means. Now, here you have to understand there are two types of moralities and values. One is called idealistic morality, the one which we are talking about, that instrumental value are most important. Only good means lead to good ends. This is idealistic morality. And there is another thing which is known as pragmatic morality. So Lord Ram used to believe in idealistic morality, but Lord Krishna believed in pragmatic morality. Was the battle of Mahabharata won by Pandavas through fair means? Tell me. No, it couldn't have been. But Lord Krishna said that some ends are so important to uphold the principles of dharma that even foul means are justified. So both aspects are correct. Here I am just giving you one aspect, that is instrumental value and terminal value. When it comes to choose between them, the first choice should be instrumental value. But in case you can't choose instrumental value, as you said, that some people, while they're struggling, they have to compromise. So, well, that's pragmatic morality. Even that is necessary. Okay. So politics is basically based on pragmatic morality, not idealistic morality. Okay. Now, my question to the class, can you compare between attitude and values? So this is a question that is asked in exam. Even if you can create 2-3 points, comparison between attitudes and values. I give you 2 minutes time. Just think. Okay. So what are your points? You can talk to me.
So values can be learned or innate, but attitude are mostly innate.
Mostly innate, mostly learned.
Sorry, and
Attitudes are mostly learned. Values can also be innate. For example, the universal values. Right? That is one point. Another point. Which of the two is easy to change? Value or attitude?
attitude.
Attitudes are easy to change. Okay. What else? Which of the two is a better predictor of behavior? Attitude or values?
So maybe attitude.
Yes, attitudes are better predictor of behaviors. They spontaneously predict your behavior, affect your behavior. Now, which of the two is more specifically tied with objects? Attitudes or values?
Attitudes.
Attitudes, because values are by and large abstract. You have got the points. So we will make a list of the points. Okay. By the way, my daughter has come. I would invite her. Come here. She's coming, laughing and going. Come here. Say hello to the class.
Hello.
उधर देखो. Thank you. She came to me and said that who is this ghost? I said it's not ghost, it is host. So she changed and she wrote my name. Swamik Singh. वो सब पता है कैसे चेंज करते हैं नाम वगैरह. Okay, so let us see the comparisons between attitudes and values. One of the comparison is the location, as we have seen in the attitude chapter. Within the personality structure, values are located centrally. Attitude lie in peripheral position in the personality structure. So values are expressed in behavior by means of attitudes. So values being centrally located cannot be directly manifested in behavior. Values are expressed in behavior through the attitudes which lie in the immediate disposition towards the periphery of our personality. Second comparison. Values are abstract ideals, while attitudes are object typed or object specific. It is relatively easy to change attitude instead of values. Attitudes are better predictors of behavior Attitudes are better predictors of behavior. Values are general guides. General guide means they guide about the direction. They do not point towards the specific path to be chosen. They are general guides. And now, when it comes to awareness of the individual, we find.
Sir, please for the previous page.
Yeah, I will change the page, don't worry. Individual is more aware. Individual is more aware of his, her values, attitudes. Individual is more aware of his, her attitudes as compared to values. Individual is more aware about his, her attitude as compared to values. Not the previous page. Yeah. Okay. Should I change the page? Okay. Now, the theories of development of values. How do we develop or acquire values? Here, there is nothing new that I can suggest you. You know everything. Okay? So once again, an assignment for the class. Tell me, how does the value develop according to Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytical theory? अभी मैंने क्वेश्चन खत्म नहीं किया. You will tell me, the class will tell me, how do the values develop according to psychoanalytical theory? How does the value develop due to behavioral theory of personality, of course? How does value develop due to observational learning theory? Observational or social learning theory given by Bandura. And what is the source of value according to humanistic theory? So I have given you the names of 4 different theories of personality. You got to tell me. You got to tell me. According to these theories, how do our values develop? Take 3 minutes time before you can create or think of an answer. Okay. Who is going to tell me? How do values develop according to Sigmund Freud? Okay, Ayush. Yes, Ayush.
Good morning, sir. I'm not 100% sure, but I guess according to psychoanalytical theory, our values depend upon the kind of childhood we have, and our values develop throughout our psychosexual stages. The kind of childhood we have, the kind of parenting we have decides our values.
A particular stage, name the stage in which your values come into existence. How does your superego develop according to Sigmund Freud?
That I'm not sure about, actually. I forgot.
You forgot. Okay.
Yes.
Anyone? How does superego develops?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So it develops in the phallic stage when there is identification with same-sex parents. So our morality is what we imbibe when we identify with the same-sex parents,
Yes.
and that
So
leads to development of superego, which is the code of conduct in life.
exactly. So according to psychoanalytical theory, values are product of resolution of phallic conflicts. They develop during the phallic stage at the age group between 6 to 11 years. So have your basics clear. That is why I gave you this exercise. मैं आपको बता भी सकता था फिर भूल जाते. So your values develop while resolving the phallic conflict in the phallic stage. The age group is 6 to 11. So boy child identifies with his father while the girl child identifies with her mother. This involves internalizing the values of father and mother. The boys will internalize the values of father and try to become like their own father so that they can get a women in their life like their mother. The girls will internalize the values of their mother so that they can become like their mothers, so that one day they can have a man in their life like their father. So values are product of resolution of phallic conflicts according to Sigmund Freud, which leads to formation of superego. Superego is the guardian of one's morality. Clear? Right. So देखो मैं क्यों आपको ये एक्सरसाइज करवा रहा हूँ? Because एग्जाम में बहुत कुछ याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं है. If you have the basics clear, you can create an answer. So you can create the theories because you know personality. Personality is an umbrella topic. If you have command over personality, you can create so many answers by yourself. You do not need to depend on me or any kind of notes or material. Okay? You do not need to depend on me or any kind of notes and material. You can create the answer by yourself. Now coming to behavioral theory, the behaviorist. According to behaviorist, values develop as a product of reinforcement and punishment. Direct tuition. Okay? So behaviors which are repeatedly reinforced, they become ideal behaviors. The behaviors which receive repeated reinforcement, they become ideal set of behaviors to be repeated in future. Behaviors which are punished, they become the conscience, a behavior that I should not repeat. So do's and don't do's develop through reinforcement and punishment according to behaviorist theories. What I'm supposed to do and what I'm not supposed to do, that develops as a consequence of reinforcement and punishment. So selective reinforcement and punishment leads to shaping the values of an individual according to behaviorist. Very commonsensical, logical. आपने यही सीखा है ना behaviorism. According to social learning theory, values develop due to modeling. We imbibe the values of the role model, isn't it? According to observational learning theory, social learning theory, values develop as a consequence of modeling. And modeling involves three processes. Process number one, imitation. We imitate the behaviors of the model. Second is internalization. We make the values of the role model as self-ideals. Internalization. Okay. And interjection. Interjection. We start leading the life of the role model. We put ourselves into the shoes of the role model and begin to think, feel, and act like the role model. Now coming to humanistic theory. Coming to humanistic theory. According to humanistic theory, life is the journey of movement from our real self to our ideal self. The ideal self consists of all the values. The ideal self consists of all the values. Now watch. Your real self is, what am I? What I am. That is the judgment, your judgment about ourselves, our judgment about ourselves. Imagined self, that is self-image, is what others think I am. What I think I am, what others think I am. That is judgment by others. And based upon this, we fix an ideal self, which is what I wish to become. what I wish to become. Now, greater the congruence between 1 and 2. Greater the congruence between 1 and 2, higher the possibility of development of good values. Higher the congruence between our judgment about ourselves and judgment by others, greater the possibility that we develop right kind of values. Okay? So what I think I am and what others think I am, if there is an overlap, then definitely I will come to know that what I am supposed to make out of myself, the ideal self. So if you remember Carl Rogers, now coming to measurement of values. Measurement of values. Now there are several types of scales which have developed to measure the values, and it began with Allport and Vernon in the year 1960, when they developed SOV. SOV stands for Survey of Values. SOV is a scale that stands for Survey of Values. SOV was based upon Spranger's classification of values. It was based on Spranger's 6 types of values. The one which we discussed in the beginning of the class. Theoretical man, aesthetic man, social man, religious man, political man, economic man, right? So it is based upon Spranger's 6 types of values. And SOV requires 2 types of responses. From the participants. SOV requires 2 types of responses from the participants. One is pose-pit response. Pose-pit response. That means one value is pitted against the other. One value against the other. And another type of response category involves arrangement of values according to priority. arrangement of values according to preference, according to priority, prioritization of values. So two opposite values will be given in post-split format. You have to choose one of them. That is one type of response. And another response category is you will be given a set of values from which you have to arrange them in order of preference. For example, general progress I'm giving an example. General progress lies in, see the post-split response, freeing the slaves, or pushing industrialization. A type of question that comes in SOP. Which of the two you will choose? So I'm asking you, which of the two will you choose?
Freeing the
General
slaves.
progress of the society lies in which option? Freeing the slaves or pushing the industrialization?
Freeing
Yes.
the slaves.
Freeing the slave. Okay. Pankaj said freeing the slave. So according to this SOV, Pankaj is a social man based upon Spranger's classification. Now, those who believe that general progress lies in pushing industrialization, they will be diagnosed as economic men. Okay? Now, Lubinsky found that the inter-individual correlation remains stable. The inter-individual correlation remains stable above 20 years of age group. Inter-individual correlation remains stable above 20 years of age group in SOV. What does this mean? This means that the values are very volatile, they are subject to change during the entire course of adolescence. So until and unless you have achieved 20 years of age group, you can switch over from social man to economic man to political man to religious man. But after the age group of 20 years, the inter-individual correlation will remain stable. That means one who belongs to economic man will remain economic, one who belongs to social man will remain social, and so on. Now, why during adolescence the inter-individual correlation is unstable? Why is the inter-individual correlation unstable during adolescence below 20 years? My question to the class. Yes, Neha.
Because I think in this stage of adolescence, an individual is going through a conflict where he should adopt the values that he sees in his parents or in society, or he should stray away from those values and make a different set of values which he believes in.
So can you name the conflict that adolescents go through? Eric Erikson, I gave you the hint.
It was, I think, integrity versus something.
Is
I've forgotten.
identity crisis versus role confusion. Identity versus role confusion. So adolescents are yet looking for an identity. They should identify themselves as a religious person, social person, theoretical person, aesthetic person. They're not very sure. So they keep wandering between values. But once they acquire the adult age group, they choose a path for their lives. They acquire an identity. So inter-individual correlation in SOV is stable after the age group of 20 years. Below the age group of 20 years, the test of SOV is useless, because the result that it will produce will not stay stable for long. Lubinsky also found a noticeable gender difference. Lubinsky also found a noticeable gender difference in preferences of values. Noticeable gender difference in preference of values. He found that males prefer TEP. Females prefer ASR. TEP stands for theoretical, economic, political values. ASR stands for aesthetic, social, and religious values. So men prefer theoretical, economic, and political values, while women have a preference for aesthetic, social, and religious values. Got it? So SOV is one of the scales to measure value that was developed in 1960. Now coming to the second scale to measure value. It is RVS. RVS stands for Rockich Value Survey. Rockich in the year 1973 identified two kinds of values. Instrumental value and terminal value. Here, instrumental value is the independent variable. It is free to vary. And terminal variable is the dependent variable. So whether you achieve the end state of existence or you do not achieve, or how much you achieve, it depends upon the means that you have adopted, the independent value. So you can say instrumental value is the IV, while terminal value is the DV. Okay. So terminal value and instrumental value have a IV-DV relationship. So this instrumental value is the desirable mode of conduct. What means have you chosen in life? And the terminal value is the desirable end state of existence. Okay? For example, your instrumental value that is IV can be ambition, and your terminal value that is dependent variable can be family security. Your instrumental value can be ambition. You are ambitious. And why are you ambitious? So that you can achieve security for your family. You can have old age assurance for your family. Okay. So examples of instrumental values can be ambition, self-control, courageous, loving, polite, imaginative. So all these things you imbibe in life. You control your desires, your passions, if it is required for the family. You show courage in times of difficulty. You are loving, you are polite. If it is necessary, you maintain politeness. You are imaginative. All these are instrumental values. An example of dependent variable could be family security. It may be for the sake of friendship. It may be recognition. So we practice self-control so that we earn a good name for ourselves. It can be happiness, etc. Okay? So one thing I do not know if you have noticed, the board in the classroom, which is such a huge board, I had to frequently change the page. है कि नहीं? उस पर थोड़ा सा लिखने के बाद ही पूरा पेज फुल हो जाता था. Now this one is the little tiny, writing board. But I can accommodate at least 2-3 pages in one page itself. Now, respondents in Rockich Value Survey, the respondents are asked to rank the IVs and DVs separately. The respondents are the test takers. Respondents are asked to rank the IVs and DVs separately in order of preference, obviously. In order of preference or importance in life. The rank is taken as score. Therefore, lower score indicates higher importance. So the rank is taken as score. So your first preference will have first rank, and therefore your score will be 1. Second rank will have the score of 2. So it is your second preference. So lesser the score, higher the importance of that value in your life. Okay? So first rank means first preference, more important value. Second rank means 2 score. Score is 2. It is of second preference. Likewise. So respondents are asked to rank the IVs and DVs separately in order of preference or importance in life. The rank is taken as score. Therefore, lower score indicates higher importance of that value. Could doubt here? Okay. So this was the second, that is RVS. Now in RVS, Rockich Value Survey, what has been found? If you can remember, you can write in the exam. If you do not remember, no problem at all. It has been found that the retest reliability, about which you will know in detail when we go to measurement of individual difference chapter. The retest reliability for RVS, Rockich Value Survey, for dependent variable, that is terminal value, retest reliability is 0.76 to 0.80. This is called reliability coefficient. Reliability coefficient ranges between 0 to 1. Minimum value of 0, maximum value of 1. Okay. In fact, it can be plus minus 1. So maximum value of plus 1 and minimum value of minus 1. So if the ranks or the scores obtained upon retesting the same test on the same individual on 2 different occasions, if we find that the ranks and scores are consistent, then the test is reliable. And reliable by how many degrees? That is measured by reliability coefficient, which can have a minimum value, which may have a minimum value. See what is happening. minimum value of 0, maximum value of plus minus 1. Now coming to the independent variable, that is instrumental value. For instrumental value, the coefficient of reliability is lesser. It is 0.65 to 0.72. So you can see that terminal value is more consistent. Instrumental value, that is the means, may keep changing. That is why the reliability coefficient is lesser. So in day-to-day life, at times you may choose to be aggressive, at times you may choose to be courageous, and at times you may choose to be polite. But the terminal value, that is friendship, that remains permanently consistent. Happiness, that remains permanently consistent. So even if you do not remember these figures, what is the reliability coefficient? Just remember one fact, that test-retest reliability in RVS is higher for terminal value. It is lesser for instrumental value. So reliability coefficient will be higher for terminal value. It will be lesser, relatively lesser for instrumental value. But this is the fact that you need to remember. That's it. If you don't remember this coefficient value, it doesn't matter at all. In fact, you should not remember. Okay? And now coming to the third scale of value measurement. It is called moral judgment scale, given by Kohlberg.
सर एक बार टेस्ट रीटेस्ट रिलायबिलिटी और बता दो।
मैं बता देता हूँ, देखो बहुत सिंपल है, हिंदी भाषा में समझिए। I'll explain in both the languages. आपने एक टेस्ट एक ग्रुप को दिया, मान लो मैंने एक वैल्यू का टेस्ट इस क्लास को दिया, सबके अलग अलग रैंक और स्कोर मिल गया मुझे। मैंने दोबारा यही टेस्ट 1 साल के बाद इसी क्लास को दिया। अब मुझे देखना है कि पिछले टेस्ट में जो रैंक और स्कोर सबको मिला था, क्या वैसा ही रैंक और स्कोर दूसरी बार भी मिल रहा है? टेस्ट और फिर रीटेस्ट की रिलायबिलिटी कितनी है? अगर मैं देखूं कि स्कोर बदल गया है, जो स्कोर पिछली बार विकास को मिला था वो इस बार पंकज को मिला है, इसका मतलब रिलायबिलिटी नहीं है हमारे टेस्ट की। रैंडमली कोई कुछ भी स्कोर पा सकता है। So reliability becomes questionable. Why? Because the scores are not consistently repeated. Reliability reflects the dependability of the test. How far you can depend upon the test. है ना? But suppose I find कि पिछले बार भी विकास को जितना मिला था उतना इस बार भी मिला है, पंकज को जितना मिला था उतना इस बार भी मिला है, that means मेरा टेस्ट रिलायबल है, क्योंकि वैल्यूज बदलते नहीं है आसानी से। लेकिन मैं क्या देखता हूं कि टेस्ट रीटेस्ट रिलायबिलिटी इज मोर फॉर टर्मिनल वैल्यूज। टर्मिनल वैल्यूज आर एंड स्टेट ऑफ एग्जिस्टेंस व्हिच आर मोर स्टेबल। ठीक है, व्हाट इज द एंड स्टेट यू वांट टू रीच, you are very sure of it, it does not change, but how to reach there, it might change, the means might change. So the test retest reliability is higher for terminal values, it is lesser as compared to instrumental values, and that is what it should be like. यही होना भी चाहिए। तो रॉकेज वैल्यू सर्वे में भी वैसा ही पाया जाता है कि टर्मिनल वैल्यूज की टेस्ट रिटेस्ट वैलिडिटी रिलायबिलिटी अधिक है, इंस्ट्रूमेंटल वैल्यूज के मामले में टेस्ट रिटेस्ट रिलायबिलिटी लेस है। गॉट इट पंकज?
यस सर, थैंक यू सर।
So now we come to moral judgment scale given by Kohlberg, and before that I have to explain you the theory of stages of moral development as given by Kohlberg. Now this theory stages of moral development is also repeated in the development of human behavior chapter. So we will do it here so that we don't repeat it there. Okay. So before I start, let me take a minute from you and just join after a minute. Okay. Now understand. Kohlberg used Henn's dilemma to discover the level and stage of moral development amongst individual subjects. Okay. Now, Kohlberg believed that just as our body has certain universal stages of physical development, likewise, our morality has certain universal stages of development. So it does not develop all at once. It has certain universal stages through which we pass from one stage to next, next to next. So there are some universal stages of moral development, and this was discovered by using a dilemma, a moral dilemma called Henn's dilemma. Okay. Now, Hens was a man who was quite poor, very poor. He had a wife who was suffering from cancer. I'm presenting you Hens' dilemma. Okay. So Hens was a person who was very poor, whose wife was suffering from cancer, and she became very critical at one point of time. Now, the doctor said that only one medicine can save her life. Now, that medicine was available with only one chemist in the city. Only one chemist had that drug, only one chemist had that medicine. But that medicine was too expensive for Hens to afford. So he requested the shopkeeper, the chemist, to give him the medicine for whatever money he can pay. And he promised the chemist that he will pay the rest of the amount later. But the chemist refused. The chemist said, I will give you the medicine only if you make the full payment. And Hens does not have the full payment. Now, what should Hens do? Should he steal the medicine? This is the dilemma. If your answer is yes, then justify why he should steal the medicine. And if your answer is no, then explain why he should not steal the medicine. This was the dilemma. Now, this question was given to people or subjects who belong to various age groups, to different age groups. So his subjects were very young children. His subjects were older children. His subjects were adolescent, the teenagers. His subjects were adults. His subjects were senior citizens. So this same question was asked from people belonging to different age groups, and they gave different responses. On the basis of the responses, Hens was able to identify that which person, which subject is in what stage of moral development. Now here, I would like to mention that the journey of moral development starts as a dependent moral agent. The journey of moral development begins as a dependent moral agent, and finally it ends when one becomes independent moral agent. So the journey begins as dependent moral agent. Dependent moral agent is one whose moral judgments about right and wrong depends upon an external agency. Dependent moral agent are people whose moral judgment about what is right and what is wrong depends upon some outer source, somebody else. Independent moral agent is one who has his personal criteria for judging what is right and what is wrong. However, not everybody in life is able to complete the journey. Most of the people in the population are arrested somewhere in between the journey. Most of the people are arrested somewhere in between the journey. So very few people are able to emerge as independent moral agents. Most of the people will be locked up somewhere in between.
Sir, just can you repeat that dependent moral agent?
Dependent moral agent are people who need an external agency to know what is good and what is right and what is wrong. They don't have any personal criteria for knowing what is wrong and what is right. They need some external source to tell them what is right and what is wrong. They are dependent moral agents. Independent moral agents are people who have their personal criteria for judging what is right and what is wrong. Most of the people in the population are not able to complete the journey of moral development most of the people in the population fail to become independent moral agent. They are arrested somewhere in between. This is what I said. Okay. So hence presented his subjects with moral dilemma. This moral dilemma was known as Hen's dilemma, story of Hen's. So I just told you the story. Hence being a poor man, etc., etc. So he found that there are various levels of moral development. And each level has more than one stage. The first level is known as pre-conventional level. And pre-conventional level has two stages. Stage 1 and stage 2. Stage 1 and stage 2. So when very young children were asked that should hen steal the drug, they said no. The response given by very young children was that hen should not steal the drug. And the reason that they gave why hen should not steal the drug was because if he steals, he will be put in prison. अगर हेंस ने दवा चुराया तो उसे जेल जाना पड़ेगा. He will be put to prison. Now this type of morality is known as punishment driven morality. So for very young children, a moral conduct is one that avoids punishment. So they are dependent moral agent. Their moral judgment depends upon some external source, that is the parents and teachers, the punishing agents. So any behavior for which I am not scolded, I am not punished, is a moral behavior. So morality lies in avoiding punishment. For very young kids, morality lies in avoidance of punishment. Punishment driven morality. So we can say their morality is punishment and obedience driven. So are they independent moral agent? No, they are dependent moral agents. So this type of morality is known as physical consequence orientation. So stage 1 is physical consequence orientation. This is the name of moral stage in which very young children belong. When the question was asked to older children, their response was, yes, hen should steal the drug. When the question was asked to older children, they said, yes, hen should steal the drug. And the reason that they gave was because then he will emerge as a hero for his wife. Because then he will prove himself a hero for his wife. So this type of morality is reinforcement driven morality. So any behavior for which I am praised by others, I am appreciated by others, is a moral behavior. So reward driven morality. And this type of moral development is known as instrumental relativism orientation. Instrumental relativism orientation. Okay? Shall I change the page? So stage 2 also is dependent moral agent. In stage 1, young children are dependent on the punishing agent. In stage 2, the older children are dependent on the rewarding agent, reinforcing agent. So both are dependent moral agent. Now second level. Second level is known as conventional level. And obviously conventional level also has 2 stages. They are stage 3 and stage 4. They are stage 3 and stage 4. When adolescents were asked, should hens steal the drug? They said yes, hen should steal the drug. Why? Because if he does not steal, people will consider him coward and cruel to his wife. Because if he does not steal, people will consider him coward and cruel to his wife. Now, this type of morality is known as log kya kahenge morality. What people have to say is the criteria for judging what is right and what is wrong. So, are they independent moral agent? No. They are also dependent moral agent. Why? Because their moral judgment depends upon what others have to say. And most of the people in the population, they grow old in stage 3. Log kya kahenge? So they will resist any type of change, even if that change is for better. No intercaste marriage. No sending the daughters to college for higher education. Why? Log kya kahenge? Girls should not wear jeans. Why? Log kya kahenge? So deeply embedded within the cultural values. High social conformity. What social feedback? The social feedback becomes important for this kind of people. So what pleases others' morality is self-morality, according to them. Okay. And this type of moral orientation is known as interpersonal concordance orientation. Interpersonal concordance orientation. Stage 4, when the question was asked to adults, they responded by saying yes. And the reason which they gave was because it is the duty of the husband to save his wife. It is the duty of the husband to save his wife. Now tell me, when do people become husband and wife? When they get married. And what is marriage? Marriage is a social contract between two people in presence of many members in the society. So, in the witness of many members from the society, two people make certain promises to each other, which is known as marriage. And the members who have witnessed the occasion, they keep mounting pressure on both the couples to fulfill the promises which they made at one point of time in their presence. So conforming to the social pressure is morality. Conforming to the social norm is morality. They are also dependent morality. So because he is husband, therefore he is obligated to save his wife. Because according to social norms, it is the duty of the husband to save his wife. Because people become husband only after making some promises. Likewise, people become wife after making some promises. So conforming to social norm is morality, dependent moral agent. So this type of orientation of morality is known as law and order, the social order orientation. Law and order orientation. Law and order orientation. Shall I change the page? So both of them are dependent moral agent. And then comes the third level, which is known as post-conventional level. Post-conventional level also has two stages. Stage 5 and stage 6. So those adults who are in stage 5, they responded by saying yes, and should steal the drug. And the reason which they said, the reason that they gave was laws are not eternal. They are made to serve mankind. Hence, may steal the drug and government should pay for the damage to the chemist. So stealing is against law. It is illegal. But laws are not eternal. They are made to serve mankind. And if it is not serving mankind, then such laws are subject to change. They are not eternal. So hence may steal the drug and government should pay for the damage. So what kind of moral agent are they? Dependent or independent? क्या लगता है? They are independent moral agent. They have their own criteria for judging what is right and what is wrong. They do not blindly follow the social laws or laws made in society. So values are mutually agreed with society as good. So not all social values will be accepted by the individual in stage 5. Only those values will be acceptable which are inconsistent with one's personal criteria of what is morally right and morally wrong. So this type of moral orientation is known as social contract legality. So not everything, according to me, is legal or illegal. So something that does not serve the mankind is not legal, according to this person. He is an independent moral. And stage 6, some other adults. The adults in stage 6 said yes, hence should steal the drug. And the reason was because nothing stands above human life. So money is not above human life. Therefore, hence should steal the drug. So according to stage 6, what is right and what is wrong depends upon one's personal conscience. It does not depend upon the social norm, neither it depends upon the constitutional laws. It depends upon one's personal conscience. Therefore, this type of moral orientation is known as universal ethical principle orientation. Universal ethical principle orientation. Now, what was found in the scale of moral judgment, which was made by Kohlberg, he found that the retest reliability of scale of moral judgment was as high as 0.90, above the age group of 20 years. So before the age group of 20 years, the retest reliability was low, But above the age group of 20 years, the test-retest reliability was as high as 0.90. Remember, the maximum value of test-retest reliability is plus minus 1. So above the age group of 20 years, the subject showed upward movement through the stages. Okay. So this will be for today. Tomorrow we will continue with other measures of values, and also we will begin with the topic of interest. So see you tomorrow. All the best.